with that said, let's now get into the string. Let me show you, because I'm sure you heard. The orange man is gone. It's official. He's out the door. And, of course, the media are sort of scrambling to deal with, well, what the fuck do we talk about now? And we saw just some crazy shit around inauguration. So I'll show you the coverage of the inauguration. I'll show you some very cult-like reactions. I mean, I was aghast because the contrast between the Trump coverage and the Biden coverage is just madness. But just before we set that up, right? Obviously, everyone's scrambling to get their piece of essentially Trump memorabilia, because we'll all have to remember these times. Here it is, the Hill, right? I don't know if you remember, there was this stupid blimp that people used to take to all these Trump rallies. It was Trump as sort of an angry baby. And funnily enough, effigies of other political leaders used to get taken down in Britain. This one was allowed mysteriously. And you can see that a British museum bought it to preserve it, because, of course, this pathetic, childish display of petulance is something that needs to be preserved for the eternal record. So we had that before inauguration. I also want to add, because people don't seem to understand, my take on Trump derangement syndrome is very simple. It's that whether you're right or left, if you were plugged into the media apparatus for 24 hours as an American, you lose your mind either way. His supporters have derangement syndrome. The detractors that say he was Orange Hitler, they have derangement syndrome. It's a spectrum, you know? And we saw this. I mean, this is frightening within the context of this is what his supporters were doing going into Inauguration Day.
If you see this, please save us. I don't even see our American flag anymore. Biden's talking with some kind of crazy flag.
I don't know what crazy flag it's talking about. Biden talking next to a crazy flag. Bad news.
This is America.
This
is our land.
It is.
Please, President Trump. Please, I hope you have a plan.
There is no plan.
God, please save us. Save us from the devil, please. Y'all, I'm about to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
This is our country. Our country.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you said that.
This is awful. God, please save us, please.
Don't know if God's a big TikTok user, but anyway, there was lots of hysteria like this. I mean, I made the tweet at the time where when it was, I said the tantrums from the MAGA crowd are going to eclipse all of the ones we saw in 2016, and lo and behold, I think we actually did get there. I think we did get there in the end. There was a lot of people sucked into this kind of like, nonsense about stop the steal, QAnon, release the Kraken, and these people just couldn't understand that all of that was just smoke and mirrors for Trump's next move, which is likely going to be a media company where he harps on incessantly about how, the swamp was too strong. He definitely won the election. There was irregularities, but the world's just going to keep turning. We're going to get back to normal. We're going to get back to wars in the Middle East. We're going to get back to wars for oil. We're going to get back to, China having access to the American power grids, and we're gonna get back to corporatism, and that's it. But it's back to normal for America, really. I don't know why anyone's crying about it. What she doesn't realize is it's going to be the America of old very quickly. That's why I find the resistance rubes to be uniquely hilarious, because they themselves think they've elected some sort of rebel leader, and in actual, when you've elected someone who spent 5 decades in the political system. Zico just got him banned, did he? Incredible. Took fucking long enough. As I said, maybe get some Europeans on that council of yours so you can hear accents properly. Just a thought, because it's happening to foursome too. Also, as well, this will make you cringe. I don't know if you know the band, the New Radicals. You might have heard of them. The New Radicals announced, and I saw this a lot. You know, there were a lot of bands that decided, a lot of musicians who posed as rebels who decided that they're riding with Biden and suddenly establishment, including Rage Against the Machine, which hilariously, Morello was fucking tweeting about the insurrectionists and saying, why aren't they arresting him? Like, oh, well, Rage Against the Machine, but not that much, you know? So there was all sorts of shit like that. But anyway, here we go. The Rolling Stones. The New Radicals will reunite for the first time in 22 years to perform You Get What You Give during Biden's inauguration virtual parade. Now, why this is amusing is the New Radicals were the people who, from the lyrics of one of their songs, you can see here, health insurance, rip-off lying, FDA, big bankers buying, fake computer crashes dining, cloning while they're multiplying, fashion shoots with Beckham Hansen, Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson, you're all fakes, run to your mansions, come round here, we'll kick your asses, then don't let go. So you can see that they're very radical in that sense, you know, I mean, super radical to align themselves with Joe Biden. Definitely a political outlier and someone that supports socialism absolutely 100%. Anyway, let's get to the moment Trump left the White House, and let's get some totally fair, totally unbiased coverage, because CNN covered those last moments. This is Oliver Darcy,
Melania Trump
tweeting it out.
to Marine One for their last ride on Marine One ever. That will take them to Joint Base Andrews, where the president will give an ad-lib speech. One can only imagine what he will say, and then they will fly to Florida. Dana.
He looks small. He just looks like a small man. And that is exactly the way that he has handled his presidency since he lost. And he just has appeared smaller and smaller and less courageous. And it does take courage. It takes fortitude. It takes a sense of self to be able to not do this, to be able to get into the motorcade with your successor, to take that ride, which we have seen and heard in so many history books. There are conversations that happen that are snapshots, that are legacy moments, and that is not happening.
They used to ride in the same motorcade.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, Donald Trump and Barack Obama, the man who he said wasn't born in the United States, sat in a car together 4 years ago. But watching this,
they always leave out that the birtherism rumors did start from a Hillary Clinton pack.
There,
but,
of the White House, the president being saluted as he was walking out. He's down Marine One.
You're
just reminded, as someone who's covered this president, he loves this part of the job. This part of the job where he is saluted, where he has the red carpet rolled out for him, where he gets to board Marine One. That is what he loves so much about the job. Not so much, it seems, the other parts of the job, which he has, by all accounts and all reporting, really not been doing since at least Election Day. Really neglecting so much of the hard work of the presidency, but always wanting to have these moments where he's being treated with deference and being treated with the kind of pomp and circumstance of the job. That's what this is all about, even though there is so much grandeur to what usually happens at the Capitol with the outgoing president and the incoming president.
Anyway, I'll leave it there. They do continue to waffle on for another 3 minutes, pontificating. I will add as well, I mean, I don't know why anyone expected anything different from Donald Trump. He is a fucking narcissist. He is a narcissistic billionaire that seems to have consistently failed upwards throughout his life. And he should have been there. He should have been in the motorcade. But let's also not pretend that he at any point had anything even close to resembling a fair shake from the political system. So it's like, you can't make someone a perennial outsider and then say, why are you on the outside fogging up the windows? Come in, you were welcome. You're welcome now that we get to humiliate you. Nah, it doesn't really work like that. So I sort of see, I do sort of see both arguments, both sides of that argument, which is a nuanced position that you're not allowed to take because Americans say you can't. It got a little bit more hysterical later on. What about this? There was an air of cleansing.
It's a majestic day. It always has been, and it always should be. And just because of, in the middle of a pandemic, 2 weeks after the government was attacked at the inspiration of the sitting president of the United States, it's all the more so. And back to Jamie Gangel's point, President Bush is happy today to be there as a Republican. Even Mitch McConnell, who was with
good
President
old Bush,
Trump for most
the
of the
war
last
criminal.
4 years,
Good old Bush.
in recent days has made it pretty clear he wants to shove President Trump to the sidelines if he can, to be part of the Republicans trying to do that. And so there's a cleansing. There's an air of cleansing about today. There's an internal fight in the Republican Party about President Trump, soon to be former President Trump, that's going to continue. But today is an American celebration, and again, a testament to voting, a testament to the system, and a testament to the resilience and stubbornness. Irish stubborn is Joe Biden.
Oh, that plucky underdog Joe Biden, you know? You fucking wild cunts. Right, and then this'll push you guys. This is where you're gonna start getting nauseous. Just listen to this shit.
Some tinkering going on with the inaugural address, but his aides have made really clear it's not like he's trying to ignore or paper over either what happened at the Capitol 2 weeks ago or what we've been through throughout 4 years of the Trump presidency. And the contrast on display tonight was so stark. I mean, those lights that are just shooting out from the Lincoln Memorial along the reflecting pool, it's like almost extensions of Joe Biden's arms embracing America. It was a moment where the new president came to town and sort of convened the country in this moment of remembrance, outstretching his arms. And contrast that with that video you just saw of a disgraced president on his way out at his lowest point in his presidency at the very end here by himself, fighting for his political movement to live on, and not even necessarily promising that he's going to be leading that movement, you noted in his remarks tonight. I just think that sort of isolated.
Big Uncle joke. It was giving America a big hug. That's what's going on. This isn't, establishment Democrats, establishment political apparatus just reclaiming control. No. It's a big, warm hug. And soon the troops will be getting a big, warm hug when they're being deployed to Middle Eastern countries, Syria, Iraq, maybe Iran. Who knows? And you'll be getting a nice big hug from that never-ending conflict that we're about to get back into. Afghanistan, yeah. Apparently Trump left a big mess out there, according to the media. I also noticed as well, Joy Reid, the worst news anchor we have in the mainstream media, she was allowed to just keep peddling the Russian hoax it never dies, does it? I mean, it doesn't matter that it's been investigated, disproven. Pelosi still spouts it, and therefore that gives carte blanche to the media to spout it. Now, I do remember Twitter sort of saying that disinformation wasn't allowed on its platform, but apparently you can share Joy Reid's absolute rambling nonsense with impunity. So let's have a listen to what she's got to say. I'm sure Vladimir Putin's about to feature heavily.
To be clear, we've had 45 American presidencies, some good, some great, some terrible. But we've never had a president quite like Donald J. Trump.
True.
No American president, not even the truly venal ones like Andrew Johnson or Andrew Jackson or racist Woodrow Wilson or tricky Richard Nixon, who was elected with the help of a foreign power. None of them, let alone a hostile foreign power like Russia. And none of them has been as servile to a foreign government as Trump has been to the Kremlin and to Vladimir Putin personally. To be clear.
So, I mean, forget all of that stuff in Syria, where the tensions between America and Russia escalated pretty severely under Trump. Yeah, I mean, apparently there's never been a president more servile to Russian interests. I mean, even when we were going through the time of glasnost, because, you know, Rocky IV told us that we all needed to change. So, yeah, okay, Joy, I guess that's accurate. This was also particularly nauseating. If Uncle Joe's wonderful, warming embrace, giving America a big hug, didn't make you sick, get the sick bag now. I think this might do it for you. Here we are.
It was, to me, so striking about today was that kind of comforting sense, even with the masks, even with the distancing, even without the crowd, you know, those shots inside Statuary Hall that we're familiar with, you know, from every inauguration, the sight of the Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas, you know, the Avengers, you know, sort of the Marvel superheroes back up there together, all in one place.
Yep, that's what I think about. I mean, Bush, the war criminal, the Clintons, a provably corrupt political establishment, Obama, the person that led the most drone strikes, even was responsible for the death of an American civilian with a drone strike, but the media were asleep at the wheel for 8 years, so you're not allowed to talk about it. They're the Avengers, guys. They're not the bad guys. They're not the bad guys. The political class aren't the bad guys. No, it was the Orange Man, definitely the bad guy, and these are the good guys, and they're all coming together to save us from the bad guys. I mean, I think what's interesting is, you know, red, blue, it doesn't matter. Red or blue, it doesn't matter. Establishment, yay, go establishment, go Avengers. Also, as well, I probably get DMCA'd for this, but I need to show it to you. Katy Perry. Katy Perry turned up and performed. Oh no! Katy Perry did firework. She did firework for Joe Biden. I don't know. Maybe I'll mute it and just play the video. I guess you all know the song, right? But just look at this outside the White House. Look, it's unbelievable. Right, there we go. All having a time. Look, it's over. It's over. All problems are over. It's all over. It's all over. We did it. We elected the segregationist. Our vice president is someone who wouldn't allow exculpatory evidence to exonerate a black man. It's all over. It's all over. We fixed it. Woo! Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. It just makes you sick to the pit of your stomach if you have a brain. Anyway, there's loads of that. Katy Perry and establishment musicians. Where else? Because, I mean, where was the fireworks bit? Because I want to show you this. There was a journalist that said, hang on. There we go. As a result of the fireworks display, there was honestly a journalist came out and like, check this for fucking more absolute nonsense. This team truly understands. This is the head of strategic communications for CNN. This team truly understands optics. These images will inspire our friends and shake our foes. Yeah, because no one has ever done a fireworks display before. No one has ever done a fireworks. Are you watching, China? Are you watching China? China, the country that's got America literally by the balls and can crash its economy anytime it fucking wants and cut off supply lines to essential Medicaid. China owns you. But no, the fireworks are going to change that. They are shaking in their fucking boots right now. You've nailed it, CNN, once again with your astute understanding of the geopolitical landscape. You've done it, guys. You've really done it. What else? What else was pretty cringe? I mean, what about this? New York Post not even immune. I know they're like, what was it, a right-wing rag, essentially. But what about this one? Oh, come on. Don't start now. It's all right. I'll get it, guys. I know what the problem is. It's my bad. There we are. Jill Biden's glittery inauguration outfit was a nod to stability. A nod to stability. The glitter, the blue, everything's stable now. I don't even know what the fuck you are talking about, but it's essential that we phone and we must call her a doctor. We must. Oh. Now, one thing I did get wrong on the last stream I did, I told you that CNN had removed the COVID death counter. Now, they had, but only for Inauguration Day, because why should the specter of COVID detract from this historical moment? It is back now. Now, of course, there isn't shrieking, hysterical, 12,000 people have died since Joe Biden took over. It is like 4 9/11s. There's none of that like you used to see when Trump was in charge every day for a virus that came from China, and increasingly intelligence is suggesting from a lab in Wuhan. Which we're not allowed to talk about either, because that makes you a conspiracy theorist. And if only we had some, even though it's been published in the New York Post, you're still not allowed to say it. Sorry, not the New York Post, the New Yorker magazine. But yeah, you know, it's there's no screeching hysteria, but they only took it down for one day. That's the key point, because I say accuracy matters. It does. If I get something wrong, I'll correct myself next time I'm on there. So there was that. Now, this is going to also upset you. They had a young poet come out and do a poem to talk about, you know, what a great moment Joe Biden becoming president for America was. And hang on, I'm actually, yeah, this will be in night mode because it's the Telegraph. So anyway, this is Amanda Gorman's show-stopping poem. You must fawn about bad poetry. That sounds as if it was written by a child. Tell you what I'll do. I'll go big head while I read it. I've got the poem in front of me. This'll make you sick, I think. Here we go. I'm going to read it to you guys. So you can see how stunning and brave and inspiring it is. Okay? When day comes, we ask ourselves, when can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just is isn't always justice. I should do it in the style of Jonah Hill from fucking, what was it, 22 Jump Street. Of what just is isn't always justice. Cynthia. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country in a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colours, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must put our differences aside. Snap that. Yeah, let's get that healing going. I'm really feeling it. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that will forever be tied together victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. By the way, guys, it goes on. There's more of this. If we're going to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but all in the bridges we've made. That is the promise to glade the hill we climb if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. This effort very nearly succeeded, but while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from golden hills of the west. We will rise from the windswept northeast where our forefathers first realized revolution. And we will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. And we will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. And when day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Now, that would be great if you were 12. This is a grown-up 22, and that poem is just objectively bad by sort of the standards of which you would assess poetry. Unfortunately, it has now been deemed a seminal moment in American politics. This poem is the greatest thing of all time. There were calls immediately after it was read. Teachers, I hope you'll be sharing Amanda Gorman's poem with your students. Here's a lesson plan published on PBS. We want teachers. By the way, we're still fighting to get teachers back in schools and catch up on the education our children have lost, because teachers' unions don't want to go back to work amid COVID, even though that is an anti-scientific position. And now we're saying when the teachers can be asked to go back, you must now teach this poem in schools, this incredible seminal moment of terrible teenage poetry. Don't worry, though, because it's not a cult or anything. That's why her collection of poems has immediately gone to the top of the Amazon bestseller list. Oh, my God, give me more Slay Queen, Slay. Yes, yes. There's no more books about Trump to buy, so I'll just buy terrible teenage poetry instead. Thank you very much. What else did we have? I don't know if you caught this. There's been, just to let you know that if you had any doubts as to how dead fucking journalism actually is in America, what about this? This is the Wall Street Journal. Right, as the presidential pets head to the White House, the young rambunctious major will likely have more challenges transitioning than the older, calmer Champ, said the dog's trainer. Champ is used to the big show. I think Major is going to be like Wow. This has been part of an ongoing series of articles in the media for what they are calling the indoctrination. It's absolutely insane. We talked to a dog psychologist. Remember as well, I showed you on another stream, there was a psychic that came out and said, you know, I've psychically projected myself into, like, Major's brain, and Major thinks that Joe's going to be a good president. Like, brilliant. Perfect, guys. Like, you know, I think we can all go home here. I don't think there's any reason to critically or intelligently assess the presidency. The dogs like it, so that's fine. Now, if this isn't parody, let me find this for you. This is no joke. On the route. This is it. America's long racist nightmare is over. The route has declared it. It's done. It's gone. It's a new day in America. Racism is, it's over. It's over. This is the route. A publication that has been dedicated to publishing more and more about, you know, the problems that we have in America, the racial disparity. And it's over. The racist nightmare is over. We elected a segregationist. Racism's over, of course. So don't worry about it, guys. Try not to think about it too much. This is normal. Right, what else? What else have we got? That's utterly ridiculous. I mean, I also like that the media everyone went in as soon as Trump was gone and just immediately tipped their hands. They immediately tipped their hands. Like, check this. This is from a staff writer at the New Yorker. She's featured at CNN as well, where she's worked as a global affairs analyst. And she said, I'm thinking of my friends in journalism and the other great fact checker who may soon find work a bit boring. Yeah, there's no need. They actually, as I'll show you later on as well, the editor-in-chief of the Washington Post said, we're not going to fact-check Joe Biden as vigorously because we just assume he's not going to tell as many lies as Trump. He'll probably be like Obama in the sense that he's actually transparent. They actually said that publicly. They actually said it, and no one bats an eyelid. It's fine. Fact-checking is over. Now also, and this is just another point, right? Like, can anyone tell me, like, why would you do this? Like, why would the optics of this are ridiculous? That this was a report in NBC News that on Inauguration Day, Amazon came out and said to Joe Biden, yeah, we'll help you with the COVID vaccination distribution now. We're willing to help. Now that Trump's gone. So it's like, wait, you withheld support for vaccine distribution because you didn't like the president? And everyone's like, oh, great news. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So yeah, no problem, I guess. We'll get to that a little bit later on when we do the media section and about how everyone's saying, oh, this Trump administration left Joe Biden with absolutely nothing. And even Fauci's had to come out and go, yeah, that's not true, by the way. It's okay, though. It's the narrative. There was another thing. I don't know if you remember. On Inauguration Day, right? We remember how we were told that, like, troops on the ground in Washington was chilling and terrifying. Then they deployed 20,000 to the Capitol building so we could do this inauguration. And I just want to remind you, this caused a furor a few months ago, where this op-ed by Tom Cotton, where he said we need to send in the troops to restore order. This cost an editor over at the New York Times their job. And Tom Cotton was called a fascist, but we were being assured that there was going to be insurrections, coup attempts, violence. Let me show you the reality of what happened. We got 20,000 National Guard members deployed, which is more soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq combined. Nobody batted an eyelid in the media. No one said anything about this. Why don't we have a look at the protests and the violence that those 20,000 troops were deployed to stop? Right? The FBI said all 50 states could have large-scale protests. So far, there was none. This is a real picture from Inauguration Day for one of the inauguration protests. Literally one person turned up. Literally one person turned up. They even interview him in this article, and he says, yeah, I was told other people were going to be here. I really thought there were. You know, it's all nonsense. All nonsense. Like, one cunt turned up, like, yeah, wow. Deploy the troops. What makes it super interesting for me is when Donald Trump actually deployed troops, Nancy Pelosi said this is just in April of 2020, it was stunning and scary to see uniformed troops standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and wrong for police officers to rough people up. Less problems with that all of a sudden, I noticed. It absolutely crazy. So let's get to the definitely not a cult reactions. One of the reasons I got a ton of hate on social media, I mean, I wrote an article on my Substack basically saying you're all morons if you think you've defeated fascism in America. Like, you're absolute cretins. And I got a ton of hate for it. A ton of hate. I said Van Jones was fake crying on CNN, which he was. I'll stand by it. I'll say it till the cows come home. The idea that a grown man who at one point worked with the Trump administration was weeping on election day because great evil had been defeated and, quote, it's easier to be a father now. I don't believe it. It's fake. CNN don't tell you the news. They perform it. It's true of all mainstream media outlets. It's all political theater. If you buy it, you're fucked. So I said that. And people don't like hearing that, especially Americans. They don't like hearing it. So anyway, Stephen Colbert, who, lest we forget, is an actor, right? Did more. He was a guy who, when just before the election, was crying and saying, oh, you know, let me tell you where the MAGA movement ends up. It's a train with no brakes and you'll be on it. You know, he invoked Holocaust imagery to say if Trump wins the election, that's when the camps were definitely coming. And it's like, it's so outrageous and insulting to Jewish people. It's just insulting in general. And of course, completely fallacious and without any substance. But he was at it again, because why wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be at it again? He's an actor, remember. It's what he does. So here we go. Colbert gets emotional. Can I... Oh, wait, I'll just go direct to the video, actually. It's just a YouTube embed. Since as they have decided to paywall this article now for reasons, perhaps because it's so embarrassing. Oh, I can't even get it now. Like, they've actually just fucking locked it down. Let me see if I can get another link. Yeah, this should do it. Is this the one? No. Is this the one?
Hey, everybody!
Yeah, this is it. Okay. Hey, everybody! Ready to get your daily dose of completely accurate news from a comedian?
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been getting a little too comfortable during quarantine. Maybe your son.
Hey, everybody! Welcome.
I'm not playing the full thing. You'll get the message.
Live late show. I am your host, Stephen Colbert. Well, you did it. You survived the last 4 years, and your reward, a shiny new old president. Good old Joe. Because today at 11:49 a.m., Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was sworn in as the 46th president of the United States. We watched it. Evie's here. We watched it together. The inauguration was a joyful occasion. Like I do at most happy things, I cried a lot. It's true. It was extremely emotional. And not entirely in the way that I expected, because I have to tell you, I have zero gloat in me. There is no end zone dance here. What I feel is enormous relief. Watching the inauguration today, I recognize just how worried I've been for my country. But we've all been too deep in it for the last 4 years to truly realize what we were deeply in. It's like we've been on a ship that's been in a storm for 4 years, and we just stepped onto dry land. I want to kiss the ground, but you know, COVID, so I'm just gonna fist bump it. Today felt like a return to normalcy, even though so much about the day was abnormal.
You want to know what's hilarious as well? How they all use the word normalcy, which, by the way, was a word that when it was used in the political sense, the person who used it was absolutely ridiculed for not using the word normality. And so when I used it as the title of my article, and it was a deliberate inference to that political statement, because the return to normalcy was, we're all going to get back into all of these wars, right? And they just use it uncritically without knowing that own aspect of their own history. Because, of course, the less archaic word is normality, right? So it shows you how embedded this bullshit is, how people just repeat catchphrases, phraseologies. It's just a regurgitation. It's like dogmatic religion, like you're just reciting passages from a Bible without truly understanding what's being said.
Due to the pandemic, everyone was wearing masks. And instead of people, the mall was filled with flags. Look at them waving. They're so happy. I can't blame them. Remember, it has been a tough 4 years for flags, too. But even though it was abnormal, at least we understood why it was abnormal. 1 year ago today, the first U.S. patient was hospitalized for COVID. And after 12 months of denial and self-delusion about this pandemic, we're finally accepting reality and taking precautions.
Joe Biden, 3 days ago now, said we cannot stop the progression of the virus. So I don't know. I don't know about this, Stephen. I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's defeated now. Whatever. Right. Let me just show you. Jimmy Kimmel decided, yeah, we are actually going to gloat. This will also make you throw up. Another vomit warning incoming. I never thought I would see anything this repellent in the name of comedy. But turns out, yep, we do. So get ready.
The truth is, we won the election by a landslide. We won it big. Today, I'm going to give you the facts that every American needs to know. Let's go back.
Move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way. Move. You know, nothing says we've defeated fascism more than Martin Luther King doing a fucking Fortnite dance. I guess the threat was very real after all. Anyway, I mean, Conan O'Brien was not as bad, right? He just said, I am looking forward to sweating the small stuff again, without acknowledging that essentially what the media has actually been doing with its insane coverage of Trump. You know, oh, he gets 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 scoops, and all this other. You've been sweating the small stuff for years, and now what you're going to do is you are going to opt out of sweating any of the big stuff because your candidate won. That's what's actually happening, the inverse. But still, whatever, that's fine. You know, Conan, I guess, is still cool. Right, now let's get into some it's totally not a cult reactions. Totally not a cult. There was this. Oh, wait. They've deleted their account. Because it was bad. All right, don't worry about it, guys. Everyone's deleted their embarrassing tweets. I can just get it again because it's gonna be archived, isn't it? So, there were a lot of people said a lot of dumb shit on Inauguration Day. I just want to make that absolutely clear. Yep, we got it. Here we go. There it is. Yep, shout out to the archives. Here it was. This is best-selling author Melanie Benn. She's tapped out. No more waking up at 3 a.m. full of existential dread. Tonight we sleep like we used to when we were 5. And we fell asleep in the backseat of the car, knowing that Dad was in charge and nothing bad could happen. Good night, America. Yeah, it's no wonder she deleted her account. That's a rough one for sure. That she had another one. Hang on, let me find this. Where did I put this one? Yeah, here it is. Like, I don't know how broken you have to be like this, but whatever. In my fantasies, guys, we can do anything in a fantasy. In my fantasies, Pete and Chaston will have Kamala and Dougie over for weekly potlucks that Michelle O will crash with a bottle of wine and gossip, after which Dr. Jill and Joe bring the dogs over along with some homemade brownies to enjoy while they all sing karaoke. Why are you creating fan fiction about politicians, the political ruling class in your country, like they're just normal, homey people, rather than, by definition, career criminals? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Okay. That's how broken the media has everyone's fucking brain. That's... You know, this is like when I'm eventually taken off the airwaves and put into the re-education camps. I hope someone who handles my appeal will be using this. It's like, Richard's actually not the one whose box has gone. Here's Exhibit A, because it makes a compelling argument, right? It really does, doesn't it? There was also this. I'm guessing this one's going to be deleted as well, so I'll put that here. No, he stood by it. Oh, I do like it when they stand by it. Good on you. Good on you. Because the cringe is strong here. One of the simple, enduring images of the day. Kamala Harris's hair blowing in the wind as she took the oath. No one with longer hair, in other words, a woman, has ever taken the oath of office outside of the Capitol before, because she's the first woman to ever do it. Just like amazing. Amazing. It was the beautiful billowing hair of Kamala Harris. This was kind of tasteless, but, you know, Nothing surprises me. This is from Matt Visor. Matt Visor is at the Washington Post, and he this is sick, I think, to say this. But anyway, Joe and Bo, that's Bo Biden, Joe's dead son, who died tragically of I believe brain cancer, used to watch an eagle soar by the dock. Now when Biden steps to a lectern, he will be greeted by a presidential seal. It features as its most prominent symbol a bald eagle, a reminder both of what he has accomplished and what he has lost. Don't do that. If you need to try and get poetical and, whimsical for the occasion, don't invoke someone's dead son. Don't do that. It's really fucking tasteless. I know the media has, zero self-awareness anymore. But that is really sick. Also, I do just want to point out, though, strong uptake for eagles being good again. Remember how, last year, eagles were also the sign of the Nazis. Yeah, all right, okay. Eagles good again now, though, guys. Don't worry about that. What else have we got? Oh, no, I showed you guys this one before, but if you didn't watch the stream, prepare. Someone else tried to get, poetical. This is Alex Michelson from Fox LA. Not sure if this is a sign or just a coincidence, but moments after President Trump was sworn in back in 2017, it started to rain. Moments after President Biden was sworn in today, the clouds cleared and the sun came out. And as I said on the last stream, which I'll repeat here for the benefit of YouTube, this would only be an observation worth making if the weather had not changed in 3-4 years. Then you've got something. You're really cooking on gas. It's still a coincidence, but it's an interesting coincidence. But the weather has changed on, I dare say, a daily basis since, and therefore this observation is utterly ridiculous. Not to worry. They also, remember, they're pushing this idea that this was a very dangerous time in America for journalists, even though, I remember, in fact, I think it was the ACLU, it might have been, or it might have been Reporters Without Borders. It was one of those two organizations. They said, this is such a dangerous time in America for journalists, alluding to it being Trump's rhetoric and fake news, all of that. We've had more deaths in America to journalists than any other time in the past 10 years. And what they left out was 2 of them died covering freak weather and got crushed by trees. Another guy fell off a stepladder. It's It was nothing to do with a violent, they weren't being murdered. Meanwhile, these American journalists for the Trump administration were making out I think it'd be safer in North Korea. Spoiler, it absolutely won't be. Go ask Otto Warmbier, the guy you ridiculed after he was beaten to death by North Korean police for taking down a poster. That's fine. But yeah, now that Biden's in, they're all turning around and haha, we don't need to do our job anymore. Yeah, because it was never dangerous. Democracy worked as it was always going to, because you don't live in a fascist state. So let's bring this one up. This is the very committed political writer Farhad Manjoo, who said here, yay, back to a boring president I can ignore again. Yeah, I know, yeah. Media, truth to power, am I right, guys? Truth to power. There was this guy, this is another journalist, Carlos Lozada. Farewell, Trump books. Don't know when I'll open you up again. I bought every book that was negative about Trump. They're just occupying space in my luxury decadent apartment. Haha, I spent more on these anti-Trump books than you're going to get from the government in COVID relief. And I didn't need them. It was just reinforcing what I believe anyway. All of them based on anonymous sources. Farewell! Farewell! This was a super important period in human history and not some throwaway grift. Farewell! There were some people that were, getting really upset that not everyone was catching the vapors of the inauguration. CNN's Oliver Darcy, a hilarious hack at the best of times. He got upset that Fox dared to run a commercial. While you are watching this beautiful fireworks display, Fox is running a Nutri-System for men ad. Yeah, Fox had to run commercials during the inauguration. How fucking dare they? Actually, how dare they? How dare they? You must not avert your eyes like fucking Clockwork Orange. See it. If you thought racism is over was bad, here's the CNN political correspondent, chief White House correspondent, John Harwood. Trump to Biden is lies to truth. The Biden administration will never lie. Ignorance to knowledge. They know everything. Amorality to decency. Joe Biden, decency personified. Cruelty to empathy. Notice those cages haven't been shut down yet, but it's okay. I mean, give him time. He's definitely going to shut them down. Corruption to public service. We've beaten political corruption, guys. It's over. It's over. There's no racism, no political corruption. We've solved all of America's problems in one fell swoop. Kind of underlining that, like, maybe that descent into fascism was kind of a bit over-exaggerated, wasn't it? You just fixed it with one one election. And again, not everyone was getting on board with the healing and the unity vibes. This is Will Wilkinson. Biden proposes policies I dislike. His call for unity is a lie. Is all the forlorn conservative mind can seem to muster. Sad. If Biden really wanted unity, he'd lynch Mike Pence. Funny story. Will Wilkinson, I'll show you this a little bit later on, is somebody who says cancel culture, by the way, not real. Haha, laughed at it. Lost his job for that tweet. Lost his job despite a groveling apology. So, Saturday Night Live writer came out. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of pussies wetting for the first time in 4 years. Nothing says arousal more than Joe Biden. Nothing says arousal more than Joe Biden, a man who has been accused by multiple people of inappropriate conduct with women. Kamala Harris publicly said, I believe Biden's accusers when she was on the campaign trail. But, get aroused. 78-year-old applesauce for brains Joe Biden is on the fucking prowl. Saturday Night Live, man. Crazy. There was also this. This was another one that led to a Delito, a Danny Delito. This was Jessica Ellis, another best-selling author. Is it wrong? I shipped the extraordinary poet laureate, responsible for that amazing poem I read you, and Kamala's art student stepdaughter immediately. I don't know the sexuality of either one, but I'm just saying if they fell in love over the inauguration, I am there for this. Absolutely. Madness. Yes, it is wrong. It is wrong that you've imagined a lesbianic relationship between two young women you don't know without even knowing the first thing about whether or not a lesbianic relationship would be appropriate. I mean, I can't stop you imagining it, but maybe don't tell everyone on a public app like Twitter.com. Just saying. Pretty fucking creepy. Don't worry, though. Also, and as I said, I don't usually do these. I think pointing out individuals like that don't have followings, everyone's ridiculous. But, this was something that happened. A grown man posted a selfie He deleted this, by the way, which is why you're looking at an archive. I'm fucking crying my eyes out right now. I can't stop. Oh, my, do we need this? Let's do this, America. Thank you, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And he's doing that one. Sometimes all a gentleman needs is a hug or something. Evil. Not a cult, though. This is just as equally tragic. Why, yes, I am a 53-year-old woman who had a 60-year-old friend make a diorama of the inauguration so my Joe and Kamala dolls could be sworn in. That might be the most tragic embodiment. You know, because remember, there's a Ruth Bader Ginsburg doll down there, I think, as well, if my eyes serve me correctly. You know, listen, I know that the MAGA guys it's a cult. I know. I showed you at the start that woman crying, "Save us! I don't even recognize the flag anymore. I don't even recognize the flag. Save us, God! Save us!" This is just as tragic, isn't it? This is the opposite end of that. You know? So, just saying. Whatever. So is that what else have we got? Also, I don't usually invoke other broadcasters. I thought this was pretty cringe. This is Joe Biden tweeting, "It's a new day in America," with Vaush coming in. That happens every 24 hours, moron. Oh, got him. That vast intellect that we've seen at work there. And then shoe on head. "Bullying Biden begins now. Not a second to breathe." These people actually advocated repeatedly on their platforms to vote for Joe Biden rather than to disengage from a ludicrous political system that clearly doesn't give one iota about the average American voter. They grifted their way through, just like, you know, just it's what they do. It's like I say, I respect the hustle. Everyone is a fucking political grifter because there's so much money to be made from just telling a group of people what you believe is right. The lines between cult and Twitch streamer with a following, political Twitch streamer with a following, they are so fine. It's very hard to see where the line goes because it's literally the leader knows it all. They come out and they just tell you what you think is correct, and you go, "Yes, it is. Thanks for telling me. You're so insightful. How do you do this?" You know, the mothership's coming, guys. Don't worry about it. So I thought this was fucking funny because, you know, oh, now you're going to bully Biden, is it? The guy you actually went out and voted for. Okay. But it's better than Trump. Yeah, well, we'll see how that's working out for you. Chelsea Clinton, that's Hillary and Bill's daughter, she brought out a classic, a favorite classic of mine, The Woke Child. The Woke Child. You know I'm a big fan of The Woke Kid when The Woke Kid comes out. Let's have a look at Chelsea Clinton's Woke Kid. Just told Aiden, who loves numbers, that it's the 21st day of the 21st year in the 21st century. And how cool is that? And he said, without missing a beat, "Yeah, but it's cooler. It's Joe Biden's first full day in the White House." Yep, he's my son. 4.5 years old. Four and a half years old, definitely. I mean, you know, I think back to when I was 4, a time I barely have any memory of. But, you know, I was very, "Mummy, has Margaret Thatcher gone so we can eat today?" I was very politically active at 4, you know. I think you need to start early with these things. Also, as well, hilarious, while we're talking about the Clintons, I don't know how much gaslighting it's actually possible to do. But here you go. Can we take one moment? Because Hillary Clinton, of course, rocked up, you know. She had to. Hilariously, the closest she's ever going to get, you know, whatever. Can we just take 1 minute and note Hillary's dignity in class through the last 4 years and into today? And then another blue check. "I became a babbling mess." I'm sure you exist in that state of being a lot of the time, when she appeared so regally on screen. I'm glad my daughter is seeing in real time how I react to Hillary, Kamala, Michelle. I'm giddy. Dr. Jill, too. Oh, I picture them having white wine spritzers and talking about what country we're going to invade to secure resources for our political class while cancelling jobs for blue-collar people. Oh, I'm so giddy just thinking about it. But here's the thing. Hillary Clinton didn't have any dignity or class when she lost that election. She didn't even go out to concede in front of her own supporters and spent 4 years basically lying that Putin robbed her. I mean, I don't know how far back we need to go, but here's just an example. I think this is from 2018. This is Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, you can have all my fake data. She maintained, no, this was October. This is just 2 months ago. Sorry, my bad. Hillary Clinton maintains the 2016 election was not on the level. We still don't know what really happened. So much class, so much dignity. In fact, she's even calling, this is the new buzzword they're talking about, 9/11 style commission. She wants to know what role Putin played in the Capitol riots. The specter of Putin, he robbed an election. Now he's inciting an insurrection. Trust me, if you've been following what's going on in Russia, Putin's got a bit to worry about domestically at the moment. I don't think he even turned on the TV while fucking the Capitol riots were happening, but that's fine. So much class, so much dignity. Now, there were some pretty funny things that came out of the coverage. I've got to lie. I can't lie. I've got to show you this. It's so insane. Boris Johnson got asked if he thought Joe Biden was woke. And because Boris Johnson is a pig-human hybrid that was bred in the basement of Eton, he doesn't know what woke means. So he tried, bless him, he tried. Just watch this.
Do you think, as some senior politicians in Britain seem to, that President Biden is woke?
I can't comment on that. But what I know is that he's a fervent believer in the transatlantic alliance, and that's a great thing, and a believer in a lot of the things that we want to achieve together. And insofar as nothing wrong being woke, but what I can tell you is that I think that it's very, very important for everybody to, and certainly I will put myself in the category of people who believe that it's important to stick up for your history, your traditions, and your values and things you believe in.
Nailed it. Stuck that fucking landing, didn't he? Like, what the fuck are you babbling about, you mad cunt? Like, you absolute mad cunt. Like, that, by the way, that's our leader in Britain. Yeah? Yeah. It's all right, America. Yeah, I know, right? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. You think you've got problems? Fucking hell. And then... also, I'll always give a special shout out to Fox. People say to me all the time, you don't bang on Fox News. It's because very often, especially with the likes of Sean Hannity, Fox is a fucking parody of news, and we all know it. It's that the problem is, it's when your mainstream media institutions fail because they're not meant to be the way they are, right? Like, Fox was created to be the Republican propaganda arm. So, I've just got to, you won't even believe this is real, but I assure you it is. All right. I'm just going to show you the image if I can get a good one, right? So, this was like inauguration. This was like the day after inauguration. This was like the day after inauguration, right? Hannity took to Fox News to talk about Biden's disastrous. But it was day one. One day he's had. One day. Hannity didn't waste a second. He's in there. Biden's disastrous first week. You know, so this is what I mean. It's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? It's like, it's beyond parody, guys. Like, I can't. It's hilarious in and of itself. I don't need to add additional commentary to this. I'll tell you why that's stupid. You can figure that out, even if I am a media student. Now, the one good thing, I think, personally, that came out of the inauguration was the Bernie Sanders memes. Now, you're probably wondering, what memes? What's Bernie got to do with it? Well, Bernie turned up, you see, and Bernie, like, he's a shit-eating cuckold. What are you going to do? But he did make it clear that for him, inauguration was just like another. It was like something to do, like, you know, I've got to do my laundry, got to go to the shops. Oh, I'll check in on that inauguration. And he turned up like this, right? And so, like, he just turned up wearing just like his civvies, you know what I mean? He couldn't be asked, like, and I'ma just say, like, right, like, you know, I like Bernie. On this stream multiple times I talked about how the media demonized Bernie the same way they did to Trump. I called out Joy Reid for her outrageous anti-Semitic attacks on him. You know, I got a lot of time for him. I just wish he had a spine. I just wish he had a backbone. You know, and he would break away from the DNC, or at least when they fucked him out of a nomination again, you at least stand your ground and say, listen, guys, the DNC is a disgraceful, corrupt entity. That's what it is. They're not even allowing you to get your candidate a choice. But when I see things like this, I'm always reminded of the Bernie that could have been. The fact that he, you know, he's just a really unassuming, another lifelong politician, which is problematic. But a different kind to Joe Biden, let's say. And he just rocked up wearing this. Now, interesting point of information. Those wonderful big mittens he's wearing, the woman who made those mittens, her business is bankrupt now because of COVID and the lack of relief she's had from the government. Just an interesting little factoid for you. But anyway, this meme, when it really blew up, people were discussing it. But there were lots of people who were annoyed that Bernie didn't put on a suit, didn't turn up. You know, why did he turn up like this? There was actually people complaining about it. I'll just show you one. I think this encapsulates it. This encapsulates the ridiculousness probably the most. But I'll just show you here. I'll admit the Bernie memes are funny, but his openly grumpy disposition during a very historic moment for women, and particularly women of color, speaks volumes to me. Those Democrats they'll never let it lie, Bernie. They're always going to call you sexist, secretly racist. They're always going to find a way. It's absolutely ridiculous. Democrats, man, what are you going to fucking do? What are you going to do? They're so crazy. But anyway, the memes that she's talking about, believe, like, there's some funny ones. I'm going to go through and show you some of the best, some of my personal faves that I was gathering as they were coming in. There's this. It's Bernie on the Iron Throne, a sight many of us would like to see. We had this one. This is Bernie in the captain's chair for Star Trek. Make it so. Energize. We had that. What else have we got? Someone put him in the fucking old school Adam West Batmobile. Here we've got that one. But there was like hundreds of these, like just hundreds and hundreds of these memes just flying across the internet. This one was actually made by Neon Taster, who we've had on the show before. Great account to follow, at Neon Taster on Twitter. Lost a lot of followers during the election and the inauguration, as did I. You know, the penalties for straight shooting. This is a classic throwback. By the way, I also want to say, as someone who is absolutely terrified of heights, that picture knocks me sick. That picture, it always does, that photo. It absolutely makes me feel fucking violently ill. It's so hard to even look at because, like, I can't believe people did that. I can honestly not believe people fucking just, we're just having our lunch there, just hundreds of feet up in the air, sat with no safety harness on, often just having a fucking sandwich, chilling. Like, that's just fucking outrageous to me, but whatever. What else do we have? Let me see. I'm sure we got another one. I'm scrolling through what we got. There's one. Yeah, there was the one with him and Deadpool. And then, of course, the one where I think it peaked. Let me see if I can find one without people have all been trying to steal it and timestamp it. Let's have a look. Watermark it, I should say, Ron. Right, well, I'll just show you. You get the picture, even if it's got a fucking watermark on it. They had him doing a fucking armbar in the UFC. This one, I believe, was just called Feel the Burn. But then, because we had the Conor McGregor fight, it spilled over, and obviously Conor McGregor got laid the fuck out by Poirier because he's a bum. And then they changed it to be Bernie on a defeated Conor McGregor, and then, just to fucking knock it up a notch, they then had Bernie visiting Conor McGregor in motherfucking hospital afterwards. So, those memes were fucking straight lit. Like, you know, sometimes when the internet gets on something, it doesn't ruin everything. And everyone was saying, oh, no, that's the funniest now. That's like, it's peaked now, it's peaked. But no, it just kept on coming. So yeah, loving it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So good. And that, I think, was pretty much everything from the inauguration coverage. Now, I'm just going to quickly grab a beer. I saw him, just to take a little break before we get into the media and all the other stuff that's been going on. Saw some weird hate aimed my way on HLTV. Bit strange. HLTV, they always hate me. But I put a video out the other day where I was talking about Soulcast and Valorant pros and how they're soft as shit, right? And I they did a video. They did a thread about me. And I don't know if I can show it because you never know what kind of racism or whatever is going to be on HLTV. And I'm sure with Twitch are looking for loopholes to get me. But here's a comment, right? Called from an account called Kung Fu Lifestyle. How neckbeard can you get to have a mini fridge next to you at your desk? Like, it's probably 5 meters to the kitchen. Might as well get a piss bottle and shit bag for playing World of Warcraft. What if I want a cold beer while I'm doing a stream? Like, my kitchen's downstairs. It's on the other side of my house. I got to break away from the stream. Like, I can't, but why not just put a mini fridge? I don't think that's neckbeard at all. And then someone replied with, you think this guy has a kitchen? What does that mean? What, like? And then he replied with, because he's fat, I assume he does. To which someone said, YouTube esports analysts, that's my job, by the way, guys, only make so much. You can be fat, but poor if you have to buy shit like McDonald's. I'm just been wrecked, haven't I? 2 HLTV threads about me. There was one just called Richard Lewis Brazil Hate. Because I said I don't think Gowles was an appropriate pog champ because I don't think harassing teenage boys on the internet is very poggers. But that means I hate Brazil apparently again. And that was 150 comments of just all sorts of... There's some truly insane claims there. But... weird times. Rivington turned up as well. Like, Rivington sometimes sits and watches my stream. He's always been nice to me. Always been cool with Rivington. He had a problem with my Valorant video, saying, oh, it was just one pro, getting upset with one analyst. Why is he used the title Valorant pros are soft? Well, first, it's YouTube, so it's clickbait, mate. I mean, you know the fucking game, right? What, you've never used hyperbole? You're a fucking colour commentator. What you talking about? And then the other thing was the original intention for that video was to have the stuff about the Pittsburgh Knight and the people screeching about cheaters in there as well. But because on YouTube, if you do a video longer than 20 minutes, everyone tunes the fuck out, I didn't do it. I didn't put that bit in. So I had a thumbnail made that used a plural, but then didn't include it. And he went on Reddit, the one area he knows I can't reply, instead of just tweeting at me. Everyone's bitch made when you boil down to it. But the idea as well, I mean, like that Reddit thread was fucking unbelievable. Hang on, let me show you. There was Where was the comment? Somebody fucking went, oh yeah, my boy Zombs, remember the guy who accused me of being embroiled in an insane conspiracy with Cloud9? My boy Zombs already exposed this fool, a failed Breitbart writer who choked a dude out at LAN Never Forget. How about changing the title to British People Are Soft? It's as true of a statement as the one he chose. That being said, it's hilarious to watch this clickbait queen, I'm a McQueen, with a slight butthurt tone about Valorant because he knows he will never be employed by Riot. It's all right, I don't like my managers farting in my face while I'm trying to get work done. He'll never be employed by Riot after all the shit he said about them and being perceived as a brand risk. I wonder if he's going to double down on Riot sucks, Valorant is bad, the players would never make it in CSGO, please subscribe to my Patreon, or actually Valorant is innovating in interesting ways, and please Daddy Riot hire me for your events, please subscribe to my Patreon. Either way, it's going to be entertaining and transparent. Keep seething, Ricky. Now, what he's done there is he's made a fatal mistake in actually imagining things because he's seriously mentally ill. And that is that Riot were not criticized at any point in the video. I didn't say anything bad about the game. In fact, I'm on record as having been one of the first people to review the game, in which I gave it a positive review and said Riot have put their best foot forward. The players would never make it in CSGO. The fact you're getting all the CSGO rejects should tell you that's an objective fact. And I don't have a Patreon just for myself. I have a Patreon for By the Numbers, which is a CSGO podcast that barely touches upon Valorant unless a player leaves to Valorant. I'd never want to be hired for Riot because I think they're an unconscionable and unethical company. And I've never asked to be hired by Riot. But if I want to cover Valorant, I will, because I am the greatest esports journalist of all time and one of the most important figureheads in the development of Counter-Strike. I'll go where I want, and I'll talk about where I want, and losers on Reddit will never stop that. I mean, that's just how it is. I've earned that because I've been dedicated for skin in the game, building an industry that you're obsessed with, but will tap out when you blow your beans into some fat, ugly bird and spit out a moronic kid. And, you know, oh, I have to put away things I like now. This is being grown up, yeah? It's all good, mate. Right. Let's get back to the media. Media. So, the journalists have all come out. We all knew they were going to be. We all knew they were going to be riding with Biden. I mean, that's fine. They were absolutely going to have to be riding with Biden. There was just some weird stuff that was going on. So, first of all, right, and I know this is Tucker Carlson, so it's going to trigger a lot of you, right? So, you know, apologies. But no one else covered these comments. So, you know, I hope you're all right, guys, with it. Right.
Joe Biden's pick to run the Justice Department's enormous...
Biden picked, like, someone to work in the Department of Justice, handling specific matters pertaining to civil rights. And yet, in her past, she's made these comments, and I kind of feel it's a bit, they're a bit strange. I don't know.
Quote, please use the following theories and observations to assist you in your search for truth regarding the genetic differences between blacks and whites. End quotes. You know it's going to be interesting. And it was. Quote, 1. Dr. Richard King reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black, because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2, black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3, Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities.
Now, I don't know about you. That kind of sounds like a bit fucking racist to me. And probably the type of thing that probably should get picked up if we had a media, you know, that was like looking into the past of people who are going to be appointed into the upper echelons of government. What do I know? I guess I'm just an asshole. So there was that. We had as well. Let me find the right link. There was all these, like, weird questions coming in, you know, like about Joe Biden and some of the stuff that was going on with their COVID response. They had their first official White House presser. You can see here, Brian Stelter, he wrote this, Chiron, where it basically said the new head of the press response from the White House is going to share accurate information, and then in brackets, how refreshing. They are not critically questioning whether or not this administration is going to lie to them. They have decided that they're just not going to do it. They openly said as much as well. They have deemed that news is going to be boring. This is from the same show with Brian Stelter.
Is President Biden making the news boring again? People are always asking what the media will do post-President Trump. This week, after Biden's inauguration, they've been asking, are reporters going through withdrawal? Are they missing Trump's tweets? Are they lost without outrages to cover? These headlines from Axios and other websites point out that Biden's plan is dull by design. So is he making the news boring again? Let me answer all of those questions the way Biden would. Come on, man. No way. The Biden White House is clearly a break.
Right, I mean, that's pretty cringe, right? I just want to stop there because that's pretty cringe. That is pretty cringe. But the idea, like, if Donald Trump had been evasive on a single question issued by a journalist, I mean, you remember, you've seen it, you've seen the press conferences, the frenzy, the furor every time, like, Donald Trump, Mr. Trump, do you realize you can put it? It's okay, it gets worse.
From the chaos and incompetence of Trump world. But we are living through history right now. January alone has been one of the most tumultuous months in all of American history. The follow-ups will take many months and maybe years. There is so much to report, and there is nothing boring about the COVID-19 crisis, nothing boring about this national emergency, as Biden has rightly identified it. With more than 3,000 Americans dying from COVID-19 every single day, it is a story that demands our attention, demands our focus, even though so many Americans feel desensitized. Biden continues to warn the death toll will continue to rise, and the models show the same. Now, what we are seeing from the Biden White House with regards to the pandemic is a clear presentation of a national strategy, a clear break from Trump, and a lot more clarity from Dr. Anthony Fauci. Here's how Fauci put it this week on Rachel Maddow's show.
I've been wanting to come on your show for months and months. You've been asking me to come on your show for months and months, and it's just gotten blocked. Let's call it what it is. It just got blocked.
We are now hearing the truth about what the prior administration did to hurt the country's response to the pandemic.
I'm not too sure how Dr. Fauci going on Rachel Maddow is like some critically important component in combating the virus. In fact, one of the things that does seem to be lost in the sound and the fury while everyone beats their fucking chest doing that thing from the Wolf of Wall Street is that Fauci has objectively lied multiple times, including saying right at the start of the pandemic, no American needs to wear a mask. Now, it seems to me that's the kind of thing now, in the absence of Trump world, as Brian Stelter puts it, you might want to hold him publicly accountable for, because he was the voice of the response. Instead, what they've allowed him to do, he's become something of a media darling all of a sudden. Very strong Avenatti vibes, in my opinion. He's on all the shows. He's like doing all, they're all like, ooh, big mood. Dr. Fauci is all of us right now, all of this nonsense. And he came out, I think it was actually today, and said, yeah, double masking is the way. So he's gone in the space of less than a year from no masks to 2 masks, and the media haven't held him accountable, haven't questioned any of this. Why the sudden shift in stance? No, they keep laying it on Trump's doorstep when Trump was getting advice from the experts. Now, remember at the time, I told you one of the worst things about those press conferences, because Donald Trump thought it was going to be nailed on re-election. He started having press conferences every day and was saying ridiculous things every day. That's where you get the bleach quote from. That's where you get the can you not stick UV light inside you and kill it from. That's where you get, all these like ridiculous moments because Trump is a moron. But regardless, Dr. Fauci isn't a moron. And his stance has pivoted. The media are giving him a pass because he's anti-Trump.
Fauci's telling us, Birx is telling us. We're going to show you more of that in a minute. So I tweeted out that video clip of Fauci, and White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain responded and said, it is great to see Dr. Fauci on Maddow and anywhere else where he wants to speak his mind. And Maddow then responded and thanked Klain and said, hey, I will hold you to it. And that's the really important part. I will hold you to it. The Biden team is making big commitments. Now, the press will follow up and check for follow-through. I used to say during the Trump years that no president should be graded on a curve, but the Trump was. He was often graded on a curve. His team thought he was mercilessly criticized, but actually the bar was set way lower for Trump than it would have been for any other president. Many people stopped noticing his multitude of mistakes every day. Trump was constantly credited with a new tone just, for being able to read the prompter once in a while. The bar was so low. But not anymore. The Biden White House is happily, willingly,
Biden, known for being able to read off a teleprompter,
gladly raising the bar up. They are saying, hold us accountable. We will tell you the truth if you don't call us out. They are raising the bar. And so that's the work now underway for the Washington Press Corps.
So we know what the Washington Press Corps got to do. We've got to get out there and help Biden raise the bar. This is the Washington Post editor-in-chief, as I promised. There is now officially no need to fact-check Biden. If you didn't see it, the Washington Post put out a tweet, somewhat fantastical, that said Donald Trump lied over 30,000 times in his time in office, which, by the way, I can believe that number, although sometimes it turns out the media would screech about how Trump was a liar. Like, for example, he said, we will have a vaccine by the end of the year. That gets fact-checked on Snopes or whatever, called a lie. We actually get a vaccine by the end of the year. That lie, of course, isn't corrected in retrospect. So they said he lied 30,000 times in his time in office. I would love somebody to collate how many times the mainstream media lied in Donald Trump's time in office, but I guess whenever it will certainly be more than 30,000 times across all publications. But regardless, here is the editor-in-chief of the Washington Post telling you straight up there's no need to fact-check a Joe Biden administration because it's just going to be like Obama. And remember, we all loved that guy. He was a totally good president. Remember? It's scandal-free for 8 years, you know, because we have these, like, we're conditioned and trained by the media to only have memories of 2 years.
By the president-elect, he made a lot of pretty dramatic claims in his speech on Thursday evening. I understand that your team reached out to him, and just compare and contrast the reaction and response you got from the incoming administration to what you've gotten over the last several years.
Well, in the case of the Biden-Harris transition team, we identified 5 factual statements he made, interesting claims that we wanted to know if what was the basis for this. Within 15 minutes, we received citations to those factual statements, and they all checked out. Generally, the Trump White House almost never responded to our queries because, of course, a lot of what the president said could not be defended or explained in terms of where he got these so-called facts. I assume the Biden, I did 5 years of Obama, and I assume the Biden presidency will be a lot like the Obama presidency in that they will be responsive and will be able to quickly back up what they're saying. And occasionally the president will go off kilter, particularly when he's, speaking extemporaneously and not following something that had previously been fact-checked.
So it's all good, guys. Don't worry. The Fourth Estate doesn't really need to do its job now because, delicate Uncle Joe's here, and he's gonna, help us all through it. And this is crazy because, as I said at the end of my last stream, I sort of teased I was going to talk about this. This should fucking blow your mind that this is an actual thing that Joe Biden felt comfortable saying to an assembled press corps in the current climate. He said, quote, "There is nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months." Now, several months at the end of January carries us to the brink of summer, and how many people are going to die? And it's madness because if Donald Trump didn't address the pandemic at all. I mean, this is one of the reasons why people think his response was woefully inadequate. I've said it many times. There isn't a single world leader that contextually handled the outbreak of the virus in a way you would look at the model and go, do that. I mean, lots of people say New Zealand. First of all, New Zealand were literally taking people who tested positive for COVID and telling them they had to go to these hotels where they had to isolate or they'd be arrested, and they were doing that for people getting off planes. That's not going to fly in America, unfortunately, because you guys like to believe, I'm free, I'm totally free, freedom, but you live under the yoke of this fucking bullshit. where you're getting mind-fucked by your media every day, raised on television to believe absolute garbage, like your political class has your interest at heart. You know, so, and let's not forget, New Zealand is a fucking island at the arse end of the world. That's a super rural population anyway. They would never have the same problems a big city in America would have. And yet we were all, again, meant to worship at the, New Zealand are doing it. If New Zealand could do it, so can America. Absolutely not true. I mean, there's so many differences between the two countries. It's an absurd premise. But that's where we're at. So Joe Biden said there is nothing we can do to change the trajectory. Now, the media probably, if they were awake and weren't riding with Biden, they'd probably, point out that he said we're 8 months into this pandemic and Donald Trump doesn't have a plan to get this virus under control. I do. Said this in October. Said he had a plan. Said he was going to get the virus under control. Definitely hasn't even, come close when you sort of issue the mea culpa. Actually, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing we can do. There's no plan. He said here in January, before the inauguration, he said, together we'll change the course of the pandemic. Turns up to a press conference, says there's nothing we can do. Called out President Trump at the end of October for not having a plan. He's got no plan to address COVID-19. He quit on you, on your family, on America. He wants us to grow numb to the horrors of the death toll and the pain. We cannot afford another 4 years of his failed leadership. And then you're going to lean in, and lest we forget, say there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, which just doesn't seem like something someone with a plan would actually come out and say. You have him here as well. Let me just bring this one up. If I'm elected president, I won't waste a minute getting this virus under control. Here's how I'll do it. And then he's telling us there's nothing we can do. It was all a ruse. It was, the plan is I tweeted at the virus. I tweeted at it. So surely it's gonna end. Again, same day in January, he comes out and he says we have no time to waste when it comes to getting this virus under control and building our economy back better. There's our slogan. Tune in as I announce my American Rescue Plan. Then you turn up, right? I've got the job now. Actually, it's a runaway train. It's out of control. This is how viruses are sometimes. We've just got to deal with it. And it's not just him, Kamala Harris said the same thing. From day one, remember day one, super important. And I are ready to get this virus under control, rebuild our economy, and tackle any challenges our administration will inherit. I feel that if we had a media that wasn't derelict in its duties, these things would get brought up at these press conferences. Let's have a look at the type of thing that did get brought up. How refreshing. How refreshing. Let's actually as well, let me just show you an example of the type of fucking reporting that is going on in CNN. Let's not. Let's shelve that. Let me show you. Here's a genuine question. Here's a genuine question from a Joe Biden press conference. Joe Biden coming out saying we can't do anything about coronavirus. How are journalists reacting to that?
But presidents and candidates have some events where they're fun for the candidate. The big crowd on the acceptance speech at the convention, the big crowd at the inauguration, big rallies. Because of COVID, this president has been denied all those. Has he ever been at all wistful about sort of missing the fun parts of being a candidate?
Has Joe Biden been upset that his candidature and his campaign wasn't fun because of a virus that has killed 400,000 Americans and counting? That is the type of softball layup question Joe Biden is going to get for the next 4 fucking years. He won't be answering questions in 2, because after the midterms, they'll phase him out and replace him with fucking crazy eyes Kamala. Don't worry about it. That's coming. But that is the type of softball layup question that journalists are going to ask Joe Biden. Do you like fun, Joe? Do you like fun? Do you like fun, Joe? Are you enjoying the fun? It's mind-blowing to me how transparent the media bias is, and how they're all basically saying, hey, our jobs are essentially redundant now that the good guys here. You only need us to protect you from bad guys. Democrats can never be the bad guy. It's going to be okay. CNN, now I can show you. Here's what they did. They actually published this. This is it. This is madness. This is the type of bait and switch they're still doing to try and make Joe Biden sound like he has got this huge task ahead of him, and the Trump administration did absolutely nothing except let Americans die. And this is why I don't think people who think Trump did nothing and wanted to let Americans die, especially in a fucking election year, it's why they're not serious people to me. Biden inheriting non-existent coronavirus vaccine distribution plan and must start from scratch, sources say. Here's the problem with that reporting. This paragraph is from the exact same article. You might want to revise your headline, CNN, because in there you have an on-the-record source, Dr. Fauci, who you are sucking off in public and fawning over at every occasion. We're certainly not starting from scratch. Same article. Because there is activity going on in the distribution. I mean, we're coming in with fresh ideas, but also some ideas from the previous administration. You can't say it was absolutely not usable at all. They're even just no one reads past the headline anyway, so it's all fine. We'll So there's another slight problem as well. Joe Biden was asked, "What's your target? What is your target for the first 100 days of your administration?" And he said he wanted 1 million vaccines a day, but that it was going to be impossible because, as you've just seen CNN inaccurately report, it was going to be impossible because the previous administration had made it so they start from scratch, right? So here's CNN politics. Despite a Trump administration promise, the federal government has no more reserve of the second coronavirus vaccine doses. We're inheriting a huge mess here, but we have a plan to fix it, says the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain. This is, again, something a critical journalistic class would easily point out. The Trump administration had already hit close to the Biden target they'd set themselves. The 100-day vaccine goal, this is in Bloomberg, which have no right to say anything positive about Donald Trump. I'm sure you know that. Biden's 100-day vaccine goal was nearly met before he arrived. He said 1 million a day. The Trump administration was doing 983,000 shots administered a day. You know, and yet we're all, Joe set it up so it looks like he's performed a fucking miracle. All he's done is move what was already happening very, very slightly along. To be fair to him, he came out, Joe Biden, when that Bloomberg report was publicized, and he said, "Oh, I misspoke," as Joe Biden is prone to do. And he said, "I really meant 1.5 million vaccines a day." So that's the new number. But if no one had called him out, he would have been super, super happy to just trundle along and get the plaudits from the media for doing something Trump already did. By the way, if you know the Trump the people who've defined themselves by Trump haters, I'll just invite you to do an exercise. Show them that article. And it will melt their brains. They'll have a full Trump derangement syndrome breakdown before your eyes. You won't even believe it. Just try it. It's hilarious. You lose friends over that kind of stuff. here we are here. So wait, what's happening in my chat, guys? There's some insane nonsense going on. Guys, stop arguing about masks. It's fucking dumb. Stop that shit. Right.
What?
It's really fucking dumb. I'm just telling you guys, it's really fucking dumb. Stop arguing about it. Anti-maskers, mask fetishists. The bottom line is all you need to know, whichever side of the equation you're on, how the fuck can it hurt anything? Shut the fuck up. There's nothing to argue about. Mad cunts. Anyway, here we go. This is the press secretary from the White House. Let's get to some real hard-hitting questions. You know, Joe Biden has admitted there's nothing we can do about the pandemic. I'm sure the journalists are going to get right on that. No, he's going to tweet about ice cream. And I need you to think about what the reaction would be if Donald Trump did a tweet. Right? Hey, what's up? I'm just tweeting y'all from the golf course. You never guess what my fucking favourite ice cream is. There would be an apoplexy. There would be a fucking meltdown. Watch this.
This can't be real. This is real. I'm Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary. In my first tweet, I asked all of you to send me questions. So today I'm going to answer them. Will you take the hard questions from reporters and strive for transparency?
The irony of this being what you open up with, by the way, itself not being a hard question, because you can just lie. You just rizzle, dizzle this one. And we are going to get to ice cream.
Yes, that's my goal. When I talked to President Biden, then President-elect Biden, about the opportunity to be the White House press secretary, one of the things we talked about was the tone and the importance of taking things in stride and being even...
It's like one of those fucking Now This videos, you know, with the music in the background, and it's like, look at this wacky dog and how it's befriended a tortoise. And everyone goes, oh, thank you. I needed the eye bleach because Donald Trump tweeted today. Like, this is the motherfucking White House.
Healed and calm. Will there be help for those of us who can't work because of COVID? Yes, that is absolutely our goal. If you are one of the millions of Americans who are filing for unemployment insurance, who are worried about not having a job, who are trying to pay your mortgage, we are trying to provide relief. There's some executive actions that the president signed, which means he can put the delay of paying student loans in place easily through an action that doesn't require Congress. But we also have a big COVID relief package that he's trying to work with Democrats and Republicans. First feline updates would be greatly appreciated. I'm also wondering about the cat, because the cat.
I'm wondering about the cat, guys. We're gonna take those serious, hard-hitting questions.
The cat is announced,
yep, what is
wherever
going
that cat is found. What are the plans for the Biden administration on DACA? Well, not only does he want to protect DACA, but he also introduced an immigration bill because he wants there to be a path to citizenship for the 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. So he actually has taken a number of steps beyond DACA, but DACA is very important to him in protecting it. President Biden is a big ice cream fan. So does that giant freezer full of ice cream really exist? I have not found it, and I have worked here before. When I was in Wilmington before the president was inaugurated, I did ask him for my 4-year-old niece, Soraya, who was very curious about what his favorite ice cream was, and his favorite ice cream was chocolate chip. So that is my my update for all of you on that, but I have not found the freezer yet.
And I can confirm it's chocolate chip. You don't even know what fucking date is half the time, Joe, let alone what your favourite flavour of ice. Your favourite flavour of ice cream is whatever your fucking paymasters tell you it is. Whatever big fucking pharma told you it is. You know, when you held up that executive order that was designed to lower the price of fucking insulin and epinephrine for the EpiPens, and you said, oh, we really need to put that on hold. Definitely nothing to do with those big pharma fucking donors. Yeah, my favourite flavour is expensive insulin. I'm the good guy. You fucking people are mad. You people are mad. I'm not coming along for the ride. I'm not doing it, guys. Not doing it. You're never getting me. If you thought that was sickening, right? If you thought that was sickening, what about, right, an article that makes the opulent wealth of the political class, right? The opulent wealth of the political class in a time of crisis when people are on their fucking knees. You know, you survived the virus. Have you got a job? Nah, my business went under. Have you got a home? Nah, can't meet my mortgage payments. You know, right? Imagine making the opulent wealth of the political class just something cool and wacky. Because Joe Biden, you see, he decided when he went to inauguration, which probably isn't a good idea in my opinion. I think the optics is to be pretty terrible. Again, if we had a critical media, he wore a fucking unbelievably expensive Rolex, right? An unbelievably expensive Rolex. And apparently he collects Rolexes. Now, I'ma just say it. You know, that might be true and all. Right now, motherfuckers are hurting. They're hurting for money, and you're meant to be the party of the working people. So maybe someone in your party should tell you, which, by the way, let's not pretend you dress yourself, Joe. Somebody should fucking tell you, you know, don't wear that. The optics of that are really, really bad. No, it's all right, New York Times. Joe Biden is the watch geek in chief. Recent presidents, not named Trump, have tended to wear everyman timepieces such as Timex and Shanola. But it's okay. Joe Biden's here. You fucking go flex on them proles with your fucking watch that costs more than their house. Yeah, brilliant, Joe. Great. Man of the people. Scranton Joe, they call me. They call me Scranton Joe. They call me Scranton Joe. That's the media. That's how critical they are. We'll go over to MSNBC. MSNBC, Joy Reid and Yamiche Alcindor, not journalists, not credible people, very silly people, people worthy of ridicule. They told me, don't worry, look, Joe Biden's not going to lie. Here's the readout. We're going to ask tough questions. I'm going to ask tough questions, but at least we're in a situation where they, the White House, are saying we're going to level with you. We're not going to lie to you up front. Can you believe all it takes to dupe a journalist into believing a politician is the politician? Listen, I'd never lie to you. They're going along with it, you know? It's like, I know they know that that's bullshit. I know they know that's bullshit, but it's the unified front, man. This is what we all paid for. This is what the last 4 years have been about, right? Kiss the fourth estate goodbye. By the way, you're being re-educated. YouTube as well, right? I don't know if you saw, like, the disconnect between online and the real world always staggers me. In fact, I was talking about this with someone just today. Was having a call earlier, and I said, you know, when I was looking at Twitter and the screeching hysteria when I was living in America, and I go out and talk to the average American, you know, and when I criticize Americans, say these people are stupid or crazy or deranged, I'm really not talking about Americans. I'm talking about the Twitterati, essentially. The disconnect, it's like two different worlds, you know. Most people just care about their shit. As I said, the leave me the fuck alone party would win a ton of votes, but on YouTube, the Joe Biden inauguration and the Joe Biden initial press conferences and videos, holy shit. The dislike ratio, the comments. Now, I know this is no metric because I saw a lot of people going, oh, yeah, he got elected. Look at the down. Yeah, dislikes got nothing to do with ballots cast, you fucking absolute grifter morons. But I will just say, this probably shouldn't be happening, right? YouTube swept in, and they were just like, yeah, we're getting rid of all of them dislikes on those Biden videos because they're spam. They said, we want to get rid of thousands of dislikes because it's part of its regular efforts to remove engagement it considers inauthentic. You can't even do the bare minimum protest of a thumbs down on a YouTube video. You just don't know what's good for you, you bums. Shut up, the Democrats are here. They're gonna fucking rule you whether you like it or not. You don't like it? Well, you better not show dissent. Never mind, we control all the systems through which dissent could be expressed, and we will take it away from you. Remember last stream, I told you the line in the sand that is about to get drawn isn't this QAnon bullshit and whether or not you spout deranged theories. Uh-oh. Twitch got me, guys. It's all good. Don't worry, I'm back. It's not this QAnon bullshit. It's going to be, are you just mocking Democrats? If you're mocking Democrats, they're going to come and they're going to take your shit away. They're going to come and they're going to take your shit away. Timing was good on that one. You got to hand it to him. Right. What else? This is a good one. You guys will love this story, right? Let me, can I minimize that? What is happening? Yeah, there we go. No. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, the, sorry, it like lagged out and desynced on my XSplit for some reason. But here we are, right? The Washington Post changed a story about Kamala Harris. In fact, actually, I'm showing you these tweets. The wrong way around. Let me just get these ones. So, the Washington Post did an article about Kamala Harris way back when. And Reason noticed that they had attempted to memory hole this story. She was making jokes about people begging for food and water. And because it makes Kamala Harris look bad, Washington Post went back and deleted that anecdote from the article and hoped nobody would notice. Nobody would notice. Here it is, right? When the Washington Post published a 2019 campaign trail feature about then presidential hopeful Kamala Harris's close relationship with her sister, it opened with a memorable anecdote in which Harris bizarrely compared the rigors of the campaign to life behind bars. Remember, this is a former DA, former district attorney, that's been responsible for some real dubious, heinous stuff. She's fucking flip-flopped on a bunch of fucking issues, death penalty. As I said earlier, she refused to allow exculpatory evidence that would have exonerated a man who was a criminal and not a good dude, but was innocent of the crime he was in prison for. She has cackled insidiously about how she used to smoke weed while refusing to offer clemency to low-level drug offenders in California because it's not politically expedient to do so. She is awful. She is simply awful. And all the yes queen in the world is not going to change that fact. This is the bed you made. This is the pact you made. So let's just talk. Here we go. Right. When the Washington Post published a 2019 campaign, and then proceeded to laugh at the idea of an inmate begging for a sip of water. Here's the bit they deleted. It was the 4th of July, Independence Day, and Kamala Harris was explaining to her sister, Maya, that campaigns are like prisons. She'd been recounting how in the days before the Democratic debate in Miami Life had actually slowed down to a manageable pace. Kamala, Maya, and the rest of her team had spent 3 days prepping for that contest in a beach-facing hotel suite where they closed the curtains to blot out the fun. That's obviously a play on words. Blot out the sun, blot out the fun, because people are having a good time out there. But for all the hours of studying policy and practicing the zingers that would supercharge candidacy, the trip allowed for a break in an otherwise all-encompassing schedule. I actually got sleep, Kamala said, sitting in a Hilton conference room beside her sister and smiling as she recalled walks on the beach with her husband and that one morning soul cycle class she was able to take. That kind of stuff, Kamala said between sips of iced tea, which was about bringing a little normal to the days. That was a treat for me. I mean, in some ways it was a treat, Maya said, but not really. It's a treat that a prisoner gets when they ask for a morsel of food, please, Kamala said, shoving her hands towards as if clutching a metal plate, her voice now trembling like an old British man locked in a Dickensian jail cell. And water. I just want water. Your standards really go out the fucking window. And then Kamala burst into laughter. Right? The Washington Post deleted that, guys. The Washington Post realized that given that she was someone who actually locked up people, the idea of denying prisoners food and water is probably terrible optics. And so what the Washington Post decided to do was to delete that anecdote simply from the article without telling anyone, a grotesque ethical violation that even, you don't need to be a journalist to understand why that's bad. And then when Reason noticed it and ran that story, here's what they added. This story has been updated from an earlier published version. That's it. They don't explain that they removed a specific anecdote to make Kamala Harris look better. Can you even believe that? I never want to hear, by the way, about how, when you say fake news, you're inciting hate against journalists. When you say fake news is the enemy of the people, this is terrible. That is the enemy of the people. 100% that's the enemy of the people, and you should not be afraid to say it. They have covered up a repellent, repulsive anecdote because the person that said it is now in a much higher position of power. That is implied authoritarianism. That is not your friend when they cover up things politicians think and have said on the record. And don't you ever be mind-fucked into thinking otherwise. You're right. That is wrong. That doesn't serve your interest. Now, I'll also just add, because not a lot of people remember this one because it was just an insane news cycle. Kamala Harris is an insane, craven liar. I've said this many times. Her lies, though, are actually pathetic. Her lies are pathetic. So let me find you. I need to find the tweet for this. I think this is it here. Right. Of course it has. Fuck's sake. Everything gets fucking memory hold. Right? So here we go, right? Kamala Harris told a story while she was on the campaign trail. She's used it many times in the past. I'll just read it to you. Harris claimed that as a child, she was wheeled through a civil rights march in Oakland, California, in a pushchair by her mother. At one point, she says she fell out of the pushchair, and the adults caught up in the protest accidentally left her behind. When her mother returned, she tried to comfort her. My mother tells the story about how I'm fussing, and she's like, baby, what do you want? What do you need? And I just looked at her and said, freedom. That's real. That is a real anecdote that Kamala Harris has told many times. I'm not even doing the affectation of freedom. She literally says freedom. Here's the problem. That story is lifted whole cloth from a Martin Luther King interview. She copied it. She plagiarized it. There was a 1965 Playboy interview where Martin Luther King said he heard a little girl say, freedom. And that it was beautiful. She didn't know how to pronounce it, but she knew and she yearned for it. Yep, you can go check it out. This is the this is the 1965 interview here. If assuming it's gonna work, there you go. Martin Luther King Jr. Playboy interview from 1965. Go read it. Go check it out. She is craven. She's a craven liar. Not one person in the mainstream media pointed out this. This is worthy of ridicule. Just like her lies about celebrating Kwanzaa. Why a half Caribbean, half Indian person would be celebrating an exclusively African festival as a child, when, by the way, it wasn't even invented when she would have been a child to celebrate it. The media are asleep at the wheel. She'll tell whatever lies she wants to tell. Imagine, by the way, trying to pander to the African-American community, of which you are not a member, by plagiarizing Martin Luther King and the journalistic class allowing you to get away with it. Imagine that. Imagine that. But that's where we're at. Media are asleep at the wheel. They don't give a fuck. Now, by the way, just to really underline that, You remember all those National Guards that got deployed for Inauguration Day, right? Well, slight problem. As soon as the inauguration was over, the Biden administration told them to get the fuck out, and they had to sleep in a garage parking lot. Thousands of them asleep on the floor, thousands of them asleep in conditions that they would have better conditions if they were deployed in Afghanistan. And they were interviewed here, this is in Politico, and they were interviewed and they said, yeah, we feel betrayed. We were brought here, we were told there was a potential of an insurrection, potential of violence, we've done our job, you know, we were deployed. As soon as it was over, get the fuck into a garage. That's it. And what's crazy is this, if you remember, in the run-up to the election, The Atlantic run a completely fictitious story about how Donald Trump said he didn't want to go to a funeral to honor the dead because they were losers because they'd been killed and only losers would get killed. When a Freedom of Information request revealed that he didn't go because he was advised adverse weather conditions would potentially crash the helicopter, and he actually fought to go. It was there in black and white, which any journalist can do a Freedom of Information request, but they don't do it. So remember, Biden loves the troops. Biden loves the troops. So why did a journalist, why could the journalists not figure out who to criticize? Seems to me they would have known immediately if Donald Trump did this, who to criticize. I'll take it here. Let's just go to Jake Tapper from CNN, a fucking absolute comedic parody of a journalist. When Trump said, listen, the coronavirus response was down to the individual states. We offered them federal support and some chose not to take it. He said, Mr. President, your leadership is being tested here too, right? So he knows who's in charge when something in Washington goes wrong. It is the president. The buck stops with them. Yet for this, whoever in D.C. is in charge of this National Guard sleeping in a Senate parking lot mess, please get in touch with me. Folks with connections to empty hotel rooms are also contacting me. So he couldn't figure out that actually you should probably criticize Joe Biden. And he said when asked, why are you not criticizing Joe Biden for this? You know, now that your boy's in the White House, this was the response. He said, I did reach out to many Biden officials privately to bring this to their attention. And of course, anything that happens on their watch, they own. My tweet was aimed at whoever was immediately in charge so as to solve the problem. So we're not even holding politicians publicly accountable anymore. I tried to do it all privately. Do you think they ever once privately tried to reach out to Trump, a member of the Trump administration, to ever clarify anything before they pushed it publicly into the screeching, hysterical public response machine that they're reliant on to make money? No, of course they didn't. The double standard is absolutely present for anyone that cares to see it. And also, I just want to remind you of this fucking gem. Joe Biden, this is just September. This is what I mean about the short fucking memory syndrome that plagues Americans involved in politics. Joe Biden, Mr. President, if you don't respect our troops, you can't lead them. Dude, on your first day, you took thousands of soldiers, made them sleep on the floor of a garage, and independent private businesses, private hotels had to reach out to offer them lodgings. And you sent your wife, Dr. Jill Biden, to go out and thank them for their service after all of this. How you can say Mr. Trump doesn't respect the troops. One of the most militaristic presidents, according to the media. Absolute garbage. Also had to laugh. This was another classic, right? Let's already write Joe Biden's legacy on day one. This is ridiculous as Hannity calling him out, saying what a disastrous week it's been with 24 hours under his boots. This is Philip Rooker, the senior Washington correspondent for NBC and MSNBC. He said, Lincoln had the Civil War. Wilson had the pandemic. Roosevelt had the Depression. Kennedy had the height of the Cold War. And Johnson had unprecedented civil and social strife. Biden has to deal with all of the above. Biden is already the greatest president of all time in their mind. Biden is not dealing with anything close to the Civil War. Biden is not dealing anything close to the Great Depression. I know you're all up for a Cold War, because a Cold War would, a Cold War might lead to a warm war. We fucking love those, don't we? They've already said inside of... So this is, again, the other thing, guys. Richard Lewis, you don't ever go after Fox News. I do. Tell me what's more ludicrous. Sean Hannity saying Joe Biden had a disastrous week of one day. Or Philip Rooker after one day saying he is the greatest president of all time because he's having to deal with all of these things, these unbelievable tasks, when, of course, none of them are true, unless you do think the country is plunged into an era like the American Civil War right now. They're equally insane. The difference is, I don't expect this level of insanity from somebody who is claiming to be a serious political journalist. But then again, they are the best-selling author of a book called A Very Stable Genius. So maybe, maybe you're just another bias hack like all the others. Now, I'm going to warm the cockles of your heart at the end, right? I'm going to warm the cockles of your heart. Because there will be journalists that are going to ask questions. They're going to get Biden. Because Biden's going to fuck up. Biden's going to slip up a ton. Of course he is. He's a fucking joke. He's a notorious gaffe machine. He's fucking senile. It's going to be a mess. So, remember, Joe Biden, wear the damn mask. That's what he said, right? He even said it in the debates with Trump when they were just belligerently shouting at each other, two old men belligerently shouting at each other like a fight in an old people's home. You're waiting for the nurses to break up. That's American politics in 2020. Wear the damn mask. Right? Well, okay, Joe. You're a big mask wearer. Oh, my me. What's going on in this picture? This is taken on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden went down to the Lincoln Memorial with all of his family, and you'll notice not a mask between them, and that doesn't look like social distancing to me, guys. That doesn't look like social distancing. Now, by the way, this isn't the type of thing I would screech hysterically about, but I watched Donald Trump take off a mask on a balcony with no one within 6 foot of him, and CNN say, turn that off, that's going to get people killed. You have to lead by example. He's going to get people killed. So what's going on in this picture then? Is this not going to get people killed? What is it, media? And of course, nobody asked, because nobody cares, because it's their guy, right? But someone asked. And this is why this whole talk about banning Fox News is incredibly dangerous that's going on right now. A Fox News journalist asked why he wasn't wearing a mask, and you can see the look of shock on the face of the White House press secretary. They can't believe anyone's got the balls to ask them a legitimate hard question. So this will give you a chuckle to send you off to bed with.
On doing his job to get the work done for the American people. Go ahead.
Why weren't President Biden and all members of the Biden family masked at all times on federal lands last night if he signed an executive order that mandates masks on federal lands at all times?
At the inaugural...
At the Lincoln Memorial, yes.
I think, Steve, he was celebrating an evening of a historic day in our country, and certainly he signed the mask mandate because it's a way to send a message to the American public about the importance of wearing masks, how it can save tens of thousands of lives. We take a number of COVID precautions, as you know here, in terms of testing, social distancing, mask wearing ourselves, as we do every single day, but I don't know that I have more for you on it than that.
But as Joe Biden often talks about, it is not just important the example of power, but the power of our example. Was that a good example for people who are watching who might not pay attention normally?
Well, Steve, I think the power of his example is also the message he sends by signing 25 executive orders, including almost half of them related to COVID. The requirements that we're all under every single day here to ensure we're sending that message to the public. Yesterday was a historic moment in our history. He was inaugurated as President of the United States. He was surrounded by his family. We take a number of precautions, but I think we have bigger issues to worry about at this moment in time. Go ahead, Anita.
Bigger issues, anyone, bigger issues, any bigger issues. That journalist soon to be in a gulag, no doubt. That's the state of play that we're in right now. The media, 100% riding with Biden, and not even trying to hide it. So there we are, guys. We've done it. We've covered it. I've lived up to my promise. That's everything you need to know about the inauguration and subsequent media reaction.